Welcome back to Be Real with Jody. I'm so glad you're here. I say that every week, but it's because it's true. I'm so honored that you spend your time to hang out with me and listen to me and improve, your mental state and work on your thoughts. It's amazing. And I think you're amazing for even being here. So glad. So I have to tell you a funny story, you guys. This week I went back to junior high. Is that crazy? Not actually, but I had to speak at a junior high, which was crazy, okay? Because can I tell you the secret? I hated junior high, like actually hated junior high. In eighth grade, I would go to school and then I would be, not feeling good or not having friends or not feeling happy. So I would call my mom and tell her I was sick because I kind of would make myself sick. I actually did feel sick to my stomach. And then I would tell her I was sick and I'd go home. And I'm pretty sure I went home 25 times that year. And my mom got a letter saying, like, Jody can't miss any more school. So it's funny, junior high was the hardest years for me. And it's, survival of the fittest at junior high. And so here's me, thinking I'm gonna walk into a junior high in the gym. All the bleachers are full of kids, all the whole floor is full of kids, and it's like, what could go wrong, right? The truth is, they were amazing. They were so into it. They were so nice to me. They were crazy and loud, but then they would listen. And I just have this, lots of people tell you like nobody, kids days, they don't care about anything. All they care about is, social media and video games. And I want to say that's actually not true. Those kids were in it. They were listening, they were intent. And if you're here, you're one of them because so many teenagers your age, if you are given the tools to navigate your life, there's going to be ups and downs, but you're going to have the tools that you need to get through that. So, anyways, we made it through junior high. If you're a junior high, hats off to you. You're amazing. So today, you guys, we're going to be talking about relationships. And today that I'm recording this is Valentine's Day, so how fitting. But it's going to be a different relationship that you're thinking of. The relationship I want to talk about today is your relationship with you. But you're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean relationship with me? I have, friends and I have teachers and I have my parents and my relationships. But did you know we also have our own relationship with ourselves? And I want to just ask you a question. Pretend okay, let me think. In-N-Out. Who likes In-N-Out? I love In-N-Out. What if I told you, hey, do you want to go to lunch? Let's meet at In-N-Out. We're going to meet there at 12 o'clock. You want to go? And you're like, yeah, let's go. So then you go to In-N-Out and you're waiting for me and waiting for me. And I'm not showing up. So you text me like, hey, where are you? And are you coming? And then I was like, oh, I actually didn't feel like coming today. So sorry. And you'd be like, okay. And then I'm like, but tomorrow for sure. Tomorrow, I really, really want to meet you. I want to go to lunch. I'll be there. And you're like, okay, all right. So the next day, you show up at In-N-Out, 12 o'clock. You're looking for me, looking for me. You're like, what the heck? She said she was going to be here. She said she would, and she's not here. So you text me, you're like, hey, where are you? And you're like, I was too tired. I really just didn't feel like going, but I promise I do. I really do want to. I'll be there. Are you going to trust me that I actually want to do it? That I'll show up? Do you even think you would believe me or show up the next day? Probably not because like my actions are not supporting my words. I'm saying I'll do it, but I don't actually do it. And I would never do that to you, and I don't think you would do that to me or any of your friends. You wouldn't tell them you're going to be somewhere and then not show up, right? But the funny thing is, we do that to ourselves all the time. We're like, I really, my plan, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna get my homework done every night by 6 o'clock, right? And then we say we're gonna do it, and then we don't do it. And then we say we're gonna do it, and we don't do it. And then eventually, when we tell ourselves, yeah, I'm gonna get my homework done, your brain's like, no, you're not. You're not going to. It's like we have this other voice in ourselves, right? It's like the relationship with us has been fractured because we don't keep our promises to ourselves, right? Like if your friend kept telling you they're going to show up at In-N-Out and they don't, your relationship would suffer, right? You would not trust them. And the same thing goes with your relationship with you. Every time you tell yourself, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my phone down, what are you going to do? I'm going to eat healthy, whatever it is, whatever you're telling yourself, like you want to do, but then it comes down to it, you don't do it, your relationship with yourself like weakens. Okay. So, first of all, that's normal. Sometimes we don't feel like doing stuff. But what I want to ask you is, or tell you, is that feelings don't have much to do with it. Like, can I tell you a million times I've actually supposed to be going to lunch with someone, and when I made the appointment, I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And then the day of, I'm like, I'm so busy. I have this, but I'm not like, "Ah, I just don't feel like it. I go. Why? Not because I feel like going sometimes. It's because I said I would. And the truth is, after I'm done, I'm always like, that was so fun. I'm so glad I went, right? But I don't base my decision on showing up based on how I feel that day. I base it on what I said I would do. And so, what I want to challenge you is think about the things that you're saying to yourself every day. Like, I'm going to wake up on time. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to, whatever it is, like, tell yourself the truth. Do you actually, we tell ourselves, like, I have to do this. I have to clean my room. I have to wake up early. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do it. But do you want to do it? Do you want a clean room? Do you want your homework done? Do you want the feeling of after you're done working out? Then you're going to do it, right? But tell yourself the truth and then decide, hey, guess what? I'm a person who exercises in the morning. And so guess what's going to happen? Your alarm's going to go off, and do you think you're going to feel like going? No. So I had to start working out super early in the morning. And some days I have to wake up at 4:45 in the morning, which is insanity. I never would actually choose to do that, but it's the time that I can go. And I actually do it more for my mental state, for my stress than anything. It helps me just feel better about my life. And so I just decided I'm going to do it. So the night before, I set myself up for success, right? I'm going to set my clothes out. I'm going to set my drink out. I'm going to, do all the things. I'm going to set my alarm. And no matter what, when my alarm goes off, you guys, I never feel like going. I could tell you a million reasons why I shouldn't go. I should be like, guess what? I actually need to sleep. It's really more important, for me to do some other things. Like, I don't have to work out. No, but I'm not basing my decision in that moment on if I feel like doing it. I'm basing it on the decision that I made the night before, which is I'm going to the gym. So I'm, and the other trick that I have is I picture myself walking out of the gym when I'm done. How am I going to feel when I'm done? And it's like 6:30 and the sun's kind of coming up and I feel happy and have some endorphins in my body, right? Like I'm not going to decide if I'm going based on how I feel right now. Right now I feel tired and cold and I don't want to go. But I'm going to talk to myself. I'm going to say, guess what? You made a choice. You made a decision for yourself. And how are you going to feel when you're done? And those are my two biggest things how I keep my relationship with myself strong is when I say I'm going to do something, I show up for myself, just like I would anybody else. And here's the thing, who's perfect? Definitely not me. I'm not perfect. I'm not always going to do it. And here's the other part of it. When I don't do it, say I break my promise to myself. I tell myself I'm going to get something done, like record this podcast by a certain time, and I don't do it, right? I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst. I never do what I say I'm going to do. This is terrible. Because does that make me want to work on my podcast? The thought like I'm lazy or I'm a procrastinator. Does that make you want to do anything? No. I don't have to label myself a procrastinator. You can't check my blood and be like, yep, she's positive for procrastinator. No. Listen, the truth is I just didn't do what I said I was going to do. Okay, what do I want to do tomorrow? What could I do to set myself up for success? Right? Should I carve out amount of time? Should I um what can I do? Should I get everything ready? Should I research it tonight so it's easier for me tomorrow? What can I do to set myself up for success? So I'm not going to hate myself better. It never works. So if I do, not show up for myself, I'm just going to be like, hey, Jody, what's going on? What do you need? I'm going to be really nice to myself. I'm going to be like, okay, well, I see you didn't, do this today, but what do you want to do tomorrow? Let's go. And you're going to talk to yourself like you would your friend. You're not going to be like super mad at them when they mess up. You're going to be like, hey, I know you. This isn't how you are, but how can I support you? What do you need? You ask yourself, what do you need? And then that will give you the energy to show up the next day. So find some little things that you tell yourself you're going to do, that you tell yourself you want to do, and decide, guess what? This is the person that I am. I'm not a procrastinator. I'm not lazy. I can do what I say I'm going to do. And I'm not going to base it on how I feel in the moment. You're never going to feel like doing it. But put yourself when you're done. When I'm done recording this podcast, how am I going to feel? Proud, fulfilled, happy, right? When you're done showing up, cleaning your room, how are you going to feel? You're going to be like, like whenever I clean my room, I feel like I can breathe, Like it's like, Hallelujah. I didn't feel like cleaning my room. Cleaning my room wasn't fun, but when I'm done, how do I feel? Find those things and look for how you can strengthen the relationship with you. And that will build confidence faster than anything. Is when you tell yourself you're going to do something, you show up for yourself, just like you would your friend. You treat yourself with the same amount of respect that you would anybody else in your life, and watch your confidence in yourself and your relationship with yourself just skyrocket. So good luck this week. Have such a fun weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.